Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, we talk about all things homesteading, homemaking, and just our journey to a slower, more simple life. In today's video, I am going to be doing a much anticipated video for myself, but I know videos like these are currently circulating, and that is a seed haul. And so I have my package that I got from Baker Creek. I'm sure you know it. It is a very popular seed company. And I am first going to start by going ahead and opening my new package, and then we'll also go over seeds that I still have from last year. I will just talk a little bit about the varieties and kind of my garden plans a little bit. I have a few different plans for gardening this year that I'm excited to share the process with you. But let's just get into it. I'm excited. Also, what a pretty design on the packaging. Oh my goodness. Where to start? Let me go ahead and organize these just a little bit. Okay, I have things a little bit more organized and I'm very excited. I got quite a bit of a seed haul, so let's hop into it. First, let me go over a few things that I am getting that is brand new to me, something I've never grown before, and that is corn. I bought 3 different varieties of corn. 2 are for a popcorn and 1 is for fresh eating. I used to be under the impression that you had to have a big field of corn in order to get any kind of harvest out of it, but I have since learned that that is not the case. You do, of course, need a few plants so that they can pollinate each other, but if I dedicate a bed to them, I think there's a good chance that I could get something, which is exciting. Corn is such a staple crop for us over here in America and other places as well, but due to it being so popular, it is a big GMO crop, a big crop that has lots of pesticides used on them when made at the big scale. So the more I can do of my own corn, I think the better, because it can be hard to get your hands on organic corn and organic corn related items sometimes. Let me show you the fresh eating corn variety, and that is Fisher's Earliest Corn. So this variety was apparently developed about 60 years ago in Montana, so it should do really well in my cooler climate. It says it's good to grow in cool and harsh conditions. So a few rows of this should be okay. It doesn't say on the package exactly how long it takes for it to go from germination to having corn, but I remember picking this because it was a much shorter time span than other varieties. So we will see. We will see if I can get a good area to plant some corn, and I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to just focus on one of these corns that I got or try to do multiple types. It will really come down to the amount of space that I can seem to get to grow it, but that is the sweet corn. My other 2 varieties were a popcorn corn, and I have mini blue as well as strawberry. So the mini blue ones only grow 2 to 4 inches long, and it says that some of the plants yield 3 or even 4 ears per plant, which is pretty cool. Of course, it has a pretty bluish, dark colored kernel, and then the strawberry variety is pretty similar. These ones are actually even a little bit smaller, 2 to 3 inch ears, and it says the 4-foot plants produce 2 to 4 ears each. So those are the corn that I got, and like I said, I'll have to decide kind of what I want to focus on with corn this year. I just really wanted to try it because it's something I've never done before. These will all probably be directly sowed opposed to going under my grow lights. They all say to sow about 1 to 2 weeks before the final frost. So we'll see. I'll definitely have it figured out by then. Next, for something new, is actually peppers. And the reason I haven't grown peppers really before is because I'm just not really a fan, especially so of sweet peppers. I don't really like to eat them, but I want to try to enjoy them a little bit more in some dishes. And also, I do have family that enjoys peppers. So I got a mini bell mix. So these are just like bell peppers, but I guess just smaller. And this one comes in red, yellow, and chocolate colors. And it says that they will produce a bunch of different little peppers on the plants. So this will be exciting. It'll be kind of cute. I don't think I've mentioned yet, but I'm planning to not only garden in the front yard, which I did last year, and expand on that, but as a side kind of project, I really want to fully deck out the back deck. I have said before, but you may not know, I can't garden in the backyard because it is so covered with trees that in the summertime it is fully shaded. However, the deck is not. And one of my goals is to really help all kinds of people and show them that they can garden no matter the condition. So I really want to try to use the deck and kind of pimp it out as best as I can for gardening to show that you can grow things in even the smallest of spaces. So that will be a fun project, and I'm thinking I will definitely have these small little peppers as part of that. Peppers where I live definitely need to be started under grow lights. These will probably be some of the very first things I'm starting. It actually says 8 to 12 weeks before last frost date. I usually start things like my tomatoes 8 weeks before the last frost date. This I may even start a little bit earlier. And the only other pepper I got was actually a jalapeno. I have never been really big on spice, but I've actually been getting a little bit better with it as time has gone on. I think the reason I have not been very good with spice is because I have food allergies, and if you don't have a food allergy, you might not know, but if you have that reaction, it kind of almost feels spicy. And so I think I associated spicy feeling with like being sick. But I have been having hotter food, and so I wanted to have some of my own hot peppers. It says this variety, Tom Jalapeno, is a very tasty and mild jalapeno. So less heat than normal. And this will be the same case as the other peppers, starting inside pretty early. So that should be fun. So with how well my pumpkins actually did this past year, I was really happy with it. I wanted to do more squash because squash is honestly one of the best things you can grow for pantries for long-term storage, because you don't have to can it up to store it, and you don't even necessarily have to freeze it like I did with the pumpkin. A lot of squash is kind of bred to store in your cold storage for the entirety of the cold seasons. So I really hope to be able to get some good harvest on these. I picked out a butterbush variety. It's called Burpee's Butterbush. 75 days it says, and it is a dwarf variety. And it actually says it is some of the tastiest flesh they've ever tasted, so that I'm excited about. And of course, they are considered long keepers, so they should store really well. And the other squash that I got new this year, it says it's called Indomatrone, but I believe it is a buttercup. And I got this because I really like buttercup squash. I think it is so delicious. So I wanted to get one. We will see how this goes because this is 105 days till harvest. And in Maine, we have a pretty short growing season, so we'll see what I can do with this. Excellent storage, and the flavor carries overtones of chestnut, apparently. It says to direct sow, but I may try growing some of these indoors as well. I think I will start some squash under the grow light and see how it goes, just to kind of try to get ahead of my growing season. If you didn't know, you don't have to follow instructions to the T. You can kind of try your own things. Next, I got a couple of different greens. I got some collards. This is Georgia Southern Creole, and that looks so pretty. 60 to 65 days. It says it's tolerant to heat and cold, and apparently it's a pre-1880 heirloom, so that's really cool. Haven't grown collards before, surprisingly. I've done other types of greens, but never collards, and I'm excited because I like to have some of that. That's really yum. And I got a 5-color silver beet Swiss chard. Apparently this variety originated in Australia, and it has really pretty colors: pink, yellow, orange, red, and white. Chard is cool because it stays really nice even when it's quite cold, and it's really pretty. As you can probably see from the packaging, it is just very pretty to have in the garden, but that'll be nice. Find a place for that to live. So typically in my garden, I buy herbs locally But I did think that maybe this year I will try to grow a few from seed. So I got some chamomile, and this is Zloty Lan variety, I guess. And it is a Polish variety. And it says it has a lovely aroma, which I'm not surprised because chamomile just does tend to smell really good. Chamomile is great for teas and great for health benefits. You can make different tinctures with it. I do hope to kind of get a apothecary going this year. I'm very naturally minded, as you know, and don't really use stuff from the drugstores or stuff like that when coming under the weather. But I don't have the best arsenal currently of kind of natural ways to heal. So hopefully I can get some stuff going in the herb garden that I can add to that. Next, some safflower. And this is Corrales azafran. Very neat. Apparently it comes from Corrales, New Mexico. And this has a lot of uses actually. You can make tea with it, of course. You can make a dye, a deep orange, almost red dye. That's very cool. We got mullein, southern charm, and the flowers are beautiful. This is perennial here. So this should come back after I get it established, which is great. I love things that are perennial can just come back. Apparently they are drought tolerant and they can grow 2 to 3 feet tall. And they're very good for pollinators too. But mullein is great. Next we got some slow bolt cilantro, and this is one I have grown before, but I've always gotten it from the local nurseries. But I really want to try growing it from seed. I am a big fan of cilantro, and you wouldn't think in a colder climate like I'm in that it would bolt, but yet it does. And I think that's because I just put it in my herb bed because it's an herb, but I think the key is kind of mixing it in with my other plants that can help kind of provide some shade. And so I'm really excited to try mixing some cilantro just in the garden. And apparently this is a slower to bolt variety, so we will see how that turns out. This one is kind of neat, and I've actually seen this wild here before, but when I saw that I could get some seeds, I definitely wanted to. This is the yellow toothache plant, and if you've never heard of this, it is extremely neat. You can definitely dry this and make it into tinctures, but if you just take the flower off of this plant and put it in your mouth, it completely just numbs your mouth, aka why it's called toothache plant. And you don't need to worry about it. It doesn't have any weird side effects for your health, but it just numbs it. It's really, really neat. So I hope I can get this to grow because that would be really fun. And I got some yarrow, a mix, a Colorado mix, and this is perennial as well. I'm not sure how perennial it would be here, hard to know, but so pretty. So we'll see how that goes as well. This needs a full sun, so I will find a good spot for it. Next we got just a couple of flowers. I got the cone flower, mellow yellows, which if you didn't know has some good benefits to it as well. It's also really good for pollinators. And this is perennial here. I have other colors of cone flowers in the garden already, but I figured I'd get some yellow ones because the ones I have are more pinkish colored, and this will be very pretty. I'll find some place for this. And I've actually never grown before a nice big sunflower. So I got Sunspot Dwarf Cola? Not sure. Apparently 10-inch flower and 2 to 3 feet high plants. So I'm excited. Like I said, never grown like a big, beautiful sunflower. So they'll be beautiful, and I do hope to get some sunflower seeds as well. Very fun. The final category that I thought I'd save to last is of course tomatoes, because I always get too many because I love them. And I once again got more than I needed. These are what I got new. Some of these I've used before, but I needed more seeds. So let's start with the paste ones. I got traditional Amish paste. This works really well, gets its name because it was developed in the Amish community. And it really is a great variety for making your tomato products that you like to can up. I grew this last year. I didn't get as many as I thought. I actually got more of this other variety, which I will show you. is the orange icicle. And this is a paste tomato as well, except you can see it has a more orange color to it. And it actually is a Ukraine variety. And it says it's sweet, rich, flavorful, and has some citrus overtone, which I would agree with. This was the paste tomato that definitely grew the most in my garden this previous season, and it was very good, and I made some very good product out of it. So I got some more of that. And then I got 4 varieties of cherry tomato. I don't know if I've gotten this exact brand actually before, but it looks very similar. The Rosella tomato, it is a nice brown little kind of tomato, and it says it was bred for superior flavor. Now that I think of it, I don't think I've grown this exact variety either, but this one is called Napa Chardonnay, and it is apparently a mutation from Napa Roseblush. Some say it is the very best cherry type they've ever tasted. I would love to find that out. This one is just called Orange Hat, and it is a tiny, tiny, extra tiny variety. It says the extra dwarf bush grows just 6 to 9 inches tall. That is so cute. I wanted to try that just to try growing it different places. I'll try growing them in the windows, I'll try growing them on the deck, but I thought that was just such a cute little idea. And apparently they taste really good as well. And this is the one that I know I've had before, and it is probably my favorite, the white currant. As you can see, it is a whitish, yellowish color, and it is super sweet. Probably my favorite flavor of cherry tomato currently. So I highly, highly recommend. And let's see, we got 3 free seeds. So let's see what they are. We got the pepper datil, 100-day variety, blazing hot, 3.5 inch fruit, and it is a brilliant orange. Very cool. We'll see if I grow some of those. Blazing hot. That could be fun. That could be fun to try. Oh boy. We got Komatsuna Old Tokyo. Komatsuna. A traditional komatsuna from Tokyo, Japan that is dense in nutrition and so refined in flavor. Is known as spinach mustard. Can be cooked or raw and have a mild spinach flavor. I have never heard of this. Tolerant of heat and frost, but best planted in cool spring or fall. Interesting. So this is a leafy green that I've never heard of. That's really neat. I'll have to try this. And finally, we have a Hido Tiny bok choy, and that is adorable. I know of the bok choy, but I don't know if I've ever even eaten bok choy before. But this is an extra dwarf variety, miniature bok choy, famous across China and in the US, and it's a staple in many Asian dishes. That's very cute. I've never tried it before, so what better way to try it than in miniature version? Miniature things are so fun. They're not really that practical, but they're fun. So that is everything I got new for seeds this year. Now that is not everything I will need to get. I still need to get seed potatoes at some point, and I want to get strawberries to plant as well, but that stuff won't happen until closer to the actual gardening season. So I definitely need to start putting these seeds away, but as I do that, I figured I might as well show you some of the things that are in my collection already that I do plan to grow. I'm sure you have seen by now, but just in case you have not, I keep my seeds in a picture storage unit. You can get these on anywhere on Amazon, and they're said to be made for storing photographs and stuff like that, but I think at this point they must know that gardeners are the ones buying them. But it is very helpful with keeping different kinds of varieties of seeds in different spots, as well as keeping them out of moisture, which is really the most important thing when it comes to storing seeds. They can last for umpteen years as long as they don't get moist. That's what makes them not good. So as I'm putting my squash away, I do plan to grow again the Winter Luxury Pie pumpkin, which is what I grew in the garden last year. and had very good success with. They grew great. The plants were super healthy. I didn't have issues. And they developed about 6-pound pumpkins, nice and small, nice size, but did have a good amount of pumpkin in them. Not the absolute best ratio of seed to puree, but very, very nice. I was very happy with it. I haven't decided yet. I may try my hand at watermelon again. I have grown small varieties of watermelon in the past. I did not last year. And it's fun. It's a summer staple. It feels like summer getting to eat it, but I don't know if it's the best use of my space. Melons, of course, kind of grow very big, similar to squash, the plant themselves at least. And so I don't know if I want to take up the space to do that, but it is tempting because they're such a summer staple. But we will see. If I do, that'll be the early girl, which is a good one to grow where I am. I do like to grow beets and radishes. Radishes especially take no time at all to grow. This is de 18 jours, French like I thought, that's why I couldn't say it, but super fast grower. This is 18 days to grow under ideal conditions. So I'll definitely probably grow some of these in rotation throughout the garden season. And beets are great as well. I do bull's blood and I also do early wonder beet. So I will probably put those in to grow. I will, of course, grow some more carrots. I was very happy with how they did this year. That was my first time really getting carrots to grow nicely. And I think I will do the new Kuroda carrots mostly. I have other varieties in here I could do as well, but these ones look really good and I want to grow more of those. I want to do better with my leafy greens and find a good spot for them where they won't bolt or, get just covered in bugs. And I have Bloomsdale long-standing spinach I want to grow. I have Russian red Ragged Jack kale. And I have 2 lettuces, Merville des Courtes Saisons, French, and Bronze Beauty, not French. But these are very good. I did have some last year, not as much as I want, so I want to try to find space to really dedicate to the leafy greens. Okay, next is cucumbers. I did actually very well with cucumbers this last season, and I made some really good pickles. So I think I will grow some more again. I don't eat a lot of cucumber, either as cucumber fresh or as pickles, but they were really good, so maybe I just need to eat more. So I got Chicago pickling and Boston pickling, both meant to be grown to smaller varieties, and both really good for pickles. And I can say they were. I think I let them get a little too big actually last year. I think I kind of forgot that they were pickling cucumbers, but they still tasted really good either way. And also I have Gold Rush beans, wax beans, and these are very good. I want to be able to grow a good amount of them. I will have to see how much space I have because they're not my top priority, but I know my family really likes these a lot as well, so I hope to get some of these in. And I have in here purple peacock broccoli, and I think I do want to do broccoli again this year, but I don't really want to do this variety, and I didn't get any more seeds. I think if I do decide to have some broccoli space, I will just go to the nursery and get some. This was very pretty, and it doesn't taste bad by any means, but I think I'm just not as big of a fan as like the side shoot type broccolis. I think I really like the varieties that just have one big head that they're dedicating their time to. Because I'm not a big fan of like the stalks parts of broccoli. I like the flowerette part, the part where it would be the flower. So I think that's what I'm gonna do with that. Okay, we're into our cherry tomatoes again. Sunrise Bumblebee is a very good variety, but it's not the best tasting in the whole world. There's nothing that special about it, but it is very pretty. So I might do some of those. This was my free seed last year, and I don't think I grew any. It is spoon tomato, and it's one of those things that's not really practical but very interesting. As you can see in the picture, they are so tiny that several fit into a spoon. So maybe I'll try those just for fun. I'm not sure. Berry's Crazy Cherry. I'm not sure if there's any left in here. Maybe this is what I got that other variety for, is to be something like this. But huge clusters, as you can see. So if there is some in here, I will grow these. There's the Great White Currant that I had to replace. There's, I think, like 1 or 2 seeds left in there. And Black Cherry, very similar looking to the other one I got, which is called Rosella. Very similar. So we'll see if they taste similar. I think there's a couple left in here. Maybe I'll try both. See, I just want to grow all the tomatoes, and I do not have space to do so. But someday I will. I'll have to narrow that down a little better by the time it comes to be the season. And we got our big tomatoes. I'm sure you noticed that I only got 2 paste types for large tomatoes. I have quite a few. I have Dr. White Cheese, or Witchies, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I'm sure you've heard of this one. Very, very well-known variety, heirloom, and it's very good. I've had this before. I think I will try it again. They grow very large, yummy yellow tomatoes. This one's called Big Rainbow. This is an heirloom preserved by members of Seed Savers Exchange. And this gets very big, huge fruit, 2 pounds it says, and very striking. It is very striking. It's kind of streaky, red with streaks of yellow, very pretty. This is a good one for me to grow. This is the Betelgeuse, because I think it's French. Oh, it's Polish. And this one grows very quickly. So in my area where it's slow growing season, this one establishes and you get tomatoes a lot quicker than a lot of ones. But as you can see, nothing that special. Kind of looks like a typical grocery store tomato. Flavor is also nothing that great, but it's just really good for being early. This one is called Solar Flare. I've grown these before as well, and I've grown a couple. I've only gotten like a few. They haven't been yielding that well for me yet, but maybe if I try again this year. They're known for being very meaty and very luscious, it says. So I'm not necessarily going to grow everything that I'm showing because I still need to decide. This is one I've grown a lot that I'm not sure if I'll grow this year, but it's the Mushroom Basket, and it's very yummy, grows really well for me, but the shape of it is very cool, but it also leaves it more susceptible to damage because it's kind of all those, how do you describe it? Kind of the curves in it, but it is not that seedy, so if seeds and tomatoes kind of bother you, this may be a good choice. Dead Sunset, very pretty. Don't have much else to say about that. Pineapple, kind of similar to Solar Flare, but a more citrusy, fruity type undertones. Very large growth on that. Ozark Pink, another one that is a quick grower, 65 days, and it is a little bit pinkish. It looks pretty typical, but it's got, you know, a slight different color, which can be nice. And last in here we have our Black Beauties. I've grown these before, and they are very pretty, that being such a dark color, very like dark bluish purple, almost black, but taste-wise, I can't think of anything that outstanding about it, to be honest. So I will have to decide. I'm definitely going down the route of more practical this year opposed to beautiful. So I will have to see exactly what varieties I'm gonna go with. I have a lot of tomatoes, as you can see. I do have some cabbage and cauliflower seed left. I don't think I'm gonna grow any this year. Last year I grew the Calabros and they grew very well. I think my family's just not a big fan of the purple cabbage for some reason, which I wouldn't think the taste would be that different, but there is a difference. We like the green cabbage a little bit more, I think. I have some green cabbage seeds, but you know, they only grow to one head and they take up a lot of space, so I think I'm gonna prioritize differently. I also grew the Rober cauliflower last year, and that was very good as well, but same kind of story. I think I want to dedicate space to something that grows more and grows something a little better for storage. These are kind of my flowers, and Neither of these really grew last year. I think I planted some, but I think there was some issue. We have nasturtium, and we have soulmate variety of milkweed, which is a perennial where I am. It's perennial in zones 3 to 9, so it's a perennial lots of places. And if you didn't know, milkweed is the host plant for monarch butterflies. And monarchs are beautiful, and Maine has some programs going on that is growing the population. And I'd love to see more monarchs in the garden. I see probably one usually every year, but not a lot. So if I could get milkweed to grow, that would just be fantastic. Putting the peppers away, and it's actually the same free peppers I got last year. Maybe I'll have to try it. It's telling me, Baker Creek is telling me I have to try it. And lastly, my favorite variety of peas is Early Frosty Pea. 65 days till it is ready to harvest. And I love peas. That's another one. I'm not sure if I'm going to dedicate the space to something that is kind of just for the moment, enjoying, and not very good at storing or anything like that. You can freeze peas, of course, but I think I'm going to focus on things that are a little hardier this year. Well, that does it for the 2024 seed haul. I hope you enjoyed. I know I love looking at people's seeds because it just kind of makes my brain inspired and ready for the garden season. I do plan to have videos coming up that will kind of better describe my actual garden plan opposed to just the varieties of seeds that I have. And of course, when we come into the actual garden season, I will be sharing with you starting things under grow lights, starting things in the garden, getting gardens made, getting gardens put together, and the whole process from seed to harvest. So if you'd like to follow along with me on that, please consider subscribing so that you can join our community of like-minded folk. Let me know what you thought of the seeds I have, what you would recommend for me to grow. I'm in Zone 5B in Maine, and feel free to leave a comment on where you are and what kind of seeds you're growing or some of your favorites. I would love to know. So with that, friends, I'm gonna go ponder my garden, and I do hope to see you next time. Bye-bye!